Tesla China looking to hit over 80K deliveries this month. September 27, 2022. It appears that Tesla China is expecting to deliver an impressive number of vehicles this September. With the upgrades to Gigafactory Shanghai now completed, the electric vehicle maker is reportedly looking to achieve domestic deliveries of about 80,000 to 90,000 this month. If Tesla China is successful in this, it will represent yet another record for the company and Gigafactory Shanghai. So far, Tesla China's best-selling month was June 2022, when the company sold 78,906 vehicles. The majority of the cars sold in June were for local customers. As noted in a report from Juyinggongshe.com, the electric vehicle maker is targeting deliveries of about 80,000 to 90,000 vehicles domestically this month. This is a lofty goal, especially since insurance data from previous weeks suggested that Tesla seemed to be having delivery challenges in the country. Interestingly enough, the shorter wait times for Model 3 and Model Y orders in China reportedly affected scalpers who book vehicles early and resell them later for large profits. With the wait times now shortened significantly, more buyers would likely avoid scalpers since they can simply wait for their vehicle orders from Tesla. Part of the reason why some customers in China are reportedly expecting price cuts is due to the fact that Tesla is already a very profitable automaker. Hence, the company could implement price adjustments for its locally produced vehicles if it strategizes enough. Estimates in China reportedly suggest that Tesla will reduce its Model 3 prices by $2,700 USD and the Model Y by $3,900 United States dollars. There is a tradition of price reduction historically. Tesla has been ahead of the market regardless of whether the price has been raised or lowered. There is room for price reduction. Tesla's Q2 single vehicle profit is $8,000. And its Q3 single vehicle net profit hits $13,000, which is extremely profitable. The report read, Tesla Gigafactory Shanghai is the company's primary vehicle export hub, but the facility also has the responsibility of supplying premium electric vehicles to the domestic market. With this in mind, it is pertinent for Tesla to ensure that its cars are priced accordingly in China, especially since the country is rife with other EV makers that could very well be just as quick and aggressive as Tesla. Source reposted and summarized from Simon Alvarez at Tesla RT. My take: Tesla China knows how to ramp up car production. EV battery bottlenecks are real. September 27, 2022. As electric vehicle sales soar, the industry is facing a host of bottlenecks. Scaling up production of batteries and the raw materials that go into them takes time. Global battery production is currently dominated by Asian firms. Much of the necessary raw material is mined in unstable countries, or ones with poor environmental and human rights records, and mining and processing of raw materials present environmental challenges that make it challenging to ramp up domestic production. The ongoing flood of anti-EV articles and social media posts constantly reminds us of all these issues, while insisting that the industry has ignored them, or deliberately concealed them for some nefarious reason. In fact, automakers and suppliers have been keenly aware of these supply chain challenges for years. However, it's only recently, as EVs have begun to break into the mainstream, that they have started to receive coverage in popular media. The recent passage of the Inflation Reduction Act, which contains measures to encourage domestic production of batteries and raw materials, has really brought these issues to the forefront. Some industry experts, among others, are making dire predictions of looming shortages of critical minerals. One exec at a battery manufacturer recently told me that, while it might only take 2 years to build a battery gigafactory, it takes at least 8 years, and sometimes much more, to bring a new lithium mine into production. Commodities analysts have also been sounding warnings about supplies of graphite, nickel, cobalt, and a long list of specialty materials that are needed for batteries. While the bottlenecks are real, and call for bold action from automakers, suppliers, and governments, those making the most pessimistic predictions are surely undervaluing the importance of human ingenuity and the human desire for profit. A recent Bloomberg article highlights a recent example of how a predicted shortage failed to materialize, due to efforts on both the supply and demand sides. A few years ago, prophets were predicting a crippling cobalt crunch, just as they're now forecasting a looming lack of lithium. However, in the event, prices for cobalt have fallen about 40% from their highs earlier this year. As Colin McKerracher reports, much of this is due to supply-side measures. Mining giant Glencore increased output at its Matanda mine in the Democratic Republic of Congo by about 40% in the first half of the year. Obviously, higher prices motivate mining firms to increase supply. But the cobalt market has also been affected by measures on the demand side, as battery manufacturers and automakers strive to use less of the problematic element. In 2018, according to Bloomberg, 86% of all EVs sold used cobalt-based battery chemistries. By 2020, that proportion had fallen to 83%, and it's expected to drop to 60% this year. Automakers are increasingly choosing lithium iron phosphate LFP chemistries, which contain no cobalt, for several reasons in addition to the desire to avoid controversy. LFP batteries are cheaper, and have some other technical advantages that make them a good choice for some types of vehicles. Chinese automakers led the way to LFP adoption. BYD and CATL have been using the chemistry for some time. And Tesla started offering buyers a choice between two alternative battery chemistries in late 2021. Tesla is now using LFP batteries for standard range Model 3s and Model Es produced in China. According to Bloomberg, almost half of the vehicles Tesla produced in the first quarter of this year used LFP. Other automakers are starting to phase in LFP batteries, in order to reduce costs and to provide a hedge against supply bottlenecks. Volkswagen plans to include LFP batteries in entry-level EVs starting next year. Ford plans to offer an LFP option for its Mustang Mach-E and F-150 Lightning in 2023 and 2024, and Hyundai is reportedly also developing LFP packs. Meanwhile, battery makers are reducing the amount of cobalt they use in nickel-manganese cobalt NMC batteries. Bloomberg's McKerracher explains that early NMC formulations contained equal parts nickel, manganese and cobalt, and thus were denoted NMC 111, but that these were later replaced by NMC 532, NMC 622, and lately by NMC 811, which contains 8 parts Ni, 1 part Mn, and 1 part county nickel is another metal that's widely expected to face supply issues. But like cobalt, its price has plummeted from the heights it reached earlier this year. The story here is actually an old one: high prices for a particular material drive more production, which increases supply, and various innovations that reduce demand. This is the invisible hand of capitalism at work. And it's reasonable to expect that similar stories will play out over time when it comes to other critical minerals. It's worth noting that there are two kinds of innovations that come into play to attack shortages. Companies that rely on a material that's in short supply look for workarounds that enable them to use less, in order to save money. At the same time, entrepreneurs try to dream up new products or processes that can minimize or eliminate the need for scarce materials. Products they hope to sell to existing companies in order to make money. In the long run, this may be a more potent force, as such innovations often come from young startups that think outside the box. For example, how much demand for lithium, cobalt, Al could we reduce by making it possible for heavy-duty EVs to operate with smaller batteries? That's what Momentum Dynamics claims to offer. And although the company's wireless charging tech has nothing to do with raw materials per se, if it fulfills its claims, it could have a large impact. What if we had batteries that used no lithium at all? Companies are out there working on it. Whenever there's a boom in a particular material, there are always groups claiming this time things are fundamentally different. That this time the supply curve really is inelastic. Or that this time there are no substitutes. Mr. McKerracher writes, those claims usually get proven wrong by the combined effect of price signals and ingenuity. Source reposted and summarized from Charles Morris at Avanex. My take: with the rate that big companies are jumping into the pool, there will soon be a lot of batteries. Elon Musk owns California. September 27, 2022. California's ban on gas car sales is just under a decade and a half away. But most automakers still have a ways to go in the transition to electric vehicles, with Tesla remaining the industry's current pace setter. Some analysts think the Elon Musk-led company could be poised to win big in the state if others don't act fast. CNBC's Jim Cramer told fellow anchors on a segment of Squawk on the Street that he expects Musk to own California after 2035 if the state's new gas vehicle sales ban takes effect. And with Tesla's current positioning against legacy automakers that are just starting to release EVs, the idea certainly isn't out of the question. Cramer noted Ford CEO Jim Farley, who has been guiding the company toward a business model emphasizing EVs, with less reliance on the dealership model. Additionally, Cramer and Ford's speed in getting the electric F-150 Lightning out to customers in California could determine how competitive the automaker becomes in a decade. Especially with Tesla's current positioning in the state. It will be a state of Teslas. Unless Jim Farley can get that F-150 Lightning out. Said Farley on the show. Right now, although he thinks he can do a 600,000 run rate by the end of next year. This guy's gonna own California given this new mission. Cramer also added that California is one of the largest auto markets in the world. And Tesla's founding in the state appears properly strategic at this point. Additionally, Tesla's Fremont factory will remain operational even with the addition of new gigafactories. And it currently produces the majority of the automaker's vehicles. The quotes came after a quick appearance from Barron Capital head Ron Barron, who predicts that Tesla would become the world's largest company. A prediction stated by Tesla CEO Elon Musk at this year's annual stockholders meeting. Barron also stated that one of Musk's other companies will likely follow Tesla into the world's spotlight. Just another decade down the road, Tesla is going to be the largest company in the world. And then 10 years after that, it'll be challenged by SpaceX. Said Barron, Tesla is polarizing for many investors, as an array of Wall Street analysts fall under both the bullish and bearish categories. As it floats around $1 trillion market cap. However, it's hard for even the most bullish to deny the company's ambitions as it expands its production with new factories around the world. Another huge auto market is in China, where Tesla has also shown its worth. After a capacity upgrade in July and August, the automaker's gigafactory Shanghai has been able to produce almost as much as it delivers. As a result, Tesla's wait times dropped in China in recent weeks, thought by some to be a show of increasing supply without affecting demand. In any case, Tesla is well poised for the EV revolution, having been the one to stir it on. And while legacy automakers such as Ford have a wider factory reach going in, Tesla has new gigafactories in Germany and Texas, and Musk says the company could announce a new location by the end of the year. Source reposted and summarized from Peter McGuthrie at Avanex. My take: soon Elon will be running everything. Number of EVs in the US up by 87.5% since 2021. September 27, 2022. The number of EVs in the US has increased by 87.5% according to a report by Zitobe which published this year's version of the US Electric Vehicle Charging Point Report. The increase is up from the 2021 edition of the report which showed a total of 543,610 EVs last year. This makes it just over 1 million EVs in the US today. The report also highlighted public charging statistics and noted that the growth in this area is not matching up with the growth of EVs. In 2021, there were 98,422 public charging outlets and that grew to 128,554 or a 31% increase. Zitobe co-founder, Leo Waldenbach told Tesla RT that more people will consider switching to EVs to save money while reducing emissions. We believe that shortly, more and more people will think about switching to electric cars. It's not just about reducing emissions, which are vital for our planet, but also about saving money. After all, the increase in fuel costs will significantly affect drivers' budgets and strain many families. But there are many hurdles in the way as well. Drivers need to be sure that they can charge their EVs without waiting in long queues. And they also need to know that they aren't limited to certain areas. He said, this requires significant investments into charging infrastructure across the United States. A massive bottleneck if left unaddressed. Our new research data confirms a worry that the number of electric vehicles on the roads is increasing much faster than the number of charging stations. Unless addressed, the United States won't be able to undergo the EV revolution most people expect is around the corner. We've also been researching based on our users learning to drive with the Zitobe app. They are increasingly saying that they want an electric car but are unsure about limitations in charging infrastructure and range. The report breaks down which states have the highest and lowest amount of EV chargers and the states with the largest increase in registered EVs. Delaware showed the largest increase from 2020 to 2021 with a growth of 1950 EVs from 720 representing a 170.8% increase. The state with the least amount of registered EVs and the lowest growth was North Dakota with 170 registered EVs in 2020 and 220 registered EVs in 2021. Delaware also had the largest increase in public charging stations with a 68.8% growth. The increase in EVs in the U.S. hasn't gone unnoticed. President Biden has even taken credit for the growth. However, the top-selling EV brand in the U.S. is Tesla. A recent True Car analysis found that Tesla sales have grown by around 105% year-over-year in the U.S. Although technically Biden is the president and he was in office during this increase in EVs, H has been focusing more on promoting Tesla's competitors, which haven't led as H has previously claimed. Source reposted and summarized from John A. Kreider at Tesla RT. My take, and it's just going to get higher and higher.